What's up, guys? Welcome back to another edition of 101 Sports and Cards. Always, I'm Nathan Holloway, and with me, Jared Trush.
What's up?
We're starting in the NFL. The Texans signed Nico Collins to a 3-year, $72.75 million extension. You like that move? Because I do. Just another one of their young receivers that will stick around. Two young receivers, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, were both not at Bengals OTAs Tuesday. Nothing happened Monday because it was a holiday. Tuesday is when they started OTAs, so they were not there. They're both having ongoing contract extension talks. Of course, T. Higgins did demand a trade. Then he kind of said he doesn't want to trade, so I don't think he knows what he wants to do. But they'll more than likely have both back. And the good thing, also from OTAs, is that Joe Burrow is not on a throw count coming back from his wrist surgery. I'm going to continue my off-season grades. So this week is the Giants and the Commanders. For the Giants, I gave them a D-. Not because they didn't have a terrible off-season, it's just they lost a lot that they can't replace. They did add Brian Burns in a trade where they absolutely fleeced the Carolina Panthers, but frankly, that's not that hard to do these days. They added Devin Singletary, John Runyon, who will be great for their offensive line, and Drew Lock, who more than likely will start by the middle of the season.
Yeah.
Of course, they lost Saquon Barkley, Tyrod Taylor, who was their backup, and Xavier McKinney. So one of the best running backs in the league, one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league, and, in my opinion, the best safety in the league. They re-signed absolutely nobody. So, of course, in the draft, they drafted Malik Neighbors with the 9th overall pick. Then they also got safety Tyler Nubin in the second round, but they did not draft an offensive lineman, which was their biggest need besides replacing Daniel Jones at quarterback. So, I'm giving them a D-. I could have given them enough. I didn't think it was that bad just because Brian Burns was a huge add, and they'll probably end up trading him. If not, then Brian Burns is just going to waste his career being a Panther and then a Giant. So, do you agree with those? Or would you have given them enough?
No, they still added some decent pieces, but it definitely hurts them when they lost basically the whole main squad.
Yeah.
I mean, Malik Neighbors is a nice draft pick for him, but he has no one to throw to him. So, yeah, it's a D-.
The Commanders, I gave them a B+. I was going to give them an A, but I gave the Packers and Eagles an A, and I said the Packers and Eagles had the best off seasons, so I'm sticking with the Commanders with a B+. They added Austin Eckler from the Chargers, added Marcus Mariota, he's their new backup QB. They added Bobby Wagner, who although he's old, he's still a very good linebacker. Of course, everybody knows him from the Seattle days with the Legion of Boom. They had Zach Ertz, a tight end that they now have two tight ends, him and then Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas was hurt most of last year. And then Jeremy Chin, they got from the Panthers for literally nothing because they signed him in free agency because the Panthers didn't even offer him a contract.
Is he pretty good, too?
Yeah. So, both of these teams that I'm talking about today screwed the Panthers. Now, like I said, it's not that hard to do. Of course, they lost Jacoby Brissett, Sam Howell, Antonio Gibson, and Curtis Samuel, so not very many major losses. I mean, the biggest loss was Sam Howell, but they ended up trading him to the Seahawks, got some picks back. Jacoby Brissett was, I believe Marcus Mariota is a better backup QB than Brissett. Antonio Gibson kind of fell behind. He would have fell behind Eckler this year, but he fell behind whoever their other running back. Two running backs, because they also drafted one last year that was really good. Can't think of their names. And then Curtis Samuel was an average wide receiver. They re-signed nobody. Didn't really need to. Of course, they drafted Jaden Daniels, who's going to be the best player in this draft, second overall. In the second round, they got defensive tackle Jerzon Newton. Then they got Ben Sinnott, the tight end, I believe in the fourth round. And then also in the fourth round, they got Christian McCaffrey's brother, wide receiver Luke McCaffrey. So this is a very good offseason for the Commanders. And we're a long ways away from NFL preview. Actually, we're 99 days away today from kicking off the new NFL season. But we're still a long ways away from giving our predictions. But I'm going to give you a little teaser. The Commanders will finish second in this division. Do you agree with the Commanders?
I go A-.
Of course, next week, I will be doing the Falcons and the Buccaneers. The Falcons is going to be very interesting to do because they had a great free agency, not the best draft. The Buccaneers, a pretty good free agency.
Yeah.
Basically bringing Baker back. They just need to hope that Baker plays like he did last year. Moving on to the association, the Celtics sweep the Pacers. Jaylen Brown won Eastern Conference Finals MVP because he is the better player between him and Tatum. In all honesty, Jrue Holiday could have also won Eastern Conference Final MVP. But the Pacers should have been up 3-1 in this series. They absolutely blew 3 games. 2 of them, they did not even have their best player on the floor in Tyrese Halliburton after he got injured in game 2. They just could not finish a game, and the Celtics were the better team. The Mavericks are up 3-1 on the Timberwolves after the Timberwolves won last night. I still don't expect that the Timberwolves are not going to be the first team to come back from down 3-0. Just going to throw that out there. The Clippers make Ty Lue the highest paid head coach after they signed him to an extension this morning. I had not seen the numbers that actually came out, but I don't think this is a good move. Because for one, the Clippers should be rebuilding this offseason. They're going to lose Paul George because for some reason they want to make Ty Lue the highest paid coach, but they don't want to re-sign their best player in Paul George because it's not Kawhi, because Paul George can actually stay on the court. Somewhat.
Yeah. More.
Not like, maybe like 2 games more. So instead you're going to have Kawhi and possibly James Harden, unless James Harden leaves in free agency this year, which I don't know where he would go because I don't think anybody in the league would actually be interested in bringing him in. You have them 2. And then you have Russell Westbrook, who's also a free agent that nobody's talking about, that could leave. What's that big 3 going to do? Absolutely nothing. So why don't they just rebuild? I will probably pitch this as an article for my new job later, where I talk about the Clippers, how they should rebuild. And it's going to start with Ty Lue and why they would pay him. Ty Lue could have went anywhere. Yeah. Anywhere else. He's had no success in LA. Ever since he got there, after Kawhi forced his way there, after Kawhi forced them to trade for Paul George, and they made the duo between them 2, they've done nothing. They've been one of the biggest
upsets?
Biggest failures of a team that has so much star power. It just hasn't worked, so it's time to move on. Of course, talking about Paul George, the 76ers are very interested in him. 76ers are interested in a lot of people. They're interested in Paul George. They're interested in LeBron James. If he was to leave, they're interested in, they came out today, or there was a report that came out today that said they would be willing to bring Jimmy Butler back by giving him the max extension. If Jimmy Butler forces his way out of Miami, which I believe is probably going to happen, especially after what Pat Riley said about him. So, of course, the 76ers, they have 3 people on their active roster next season. No, 4. 3, technically, because Tyrese Maxey technically isn't on their roster. He's a restricted free agent. They're matching anything. You can go out and give Tyrese Maxey $2 billion a year. They're matching it. It doesn't matter. Watch for the 76ers to do something in free agency. We'll be talking about free agency right after the draft. Of course, the draft is less than a month away. I believe it is June 26th. So in the coming weeks, we will be talking about draft, or at least I will, since I know quite a lot about this draft now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because it's not the... Bill Walton died of cancer at the age of 71. Great person, great player. He was a MVP, won 2 finals MVPs, won championships in Portland, as well as with the Celtics as a 6th man towards the end of his career. He's also a great broadcaster, although he was somewhat annoying to listen to as a broadcaster. He was an overall great person. So, thoughts go out to Bill Walton's family. I thought it was very weird that he never
said anything about it.
No.
I guess that's why I always had a positive outlook.
He always did say he was the luckiest man in the world.
Yeah.
The finals start next Thursday, no matter what happens. It will be 6-6. June 6th is when Game 1 of the finals starts. So, honestly, thank you to the Timberwolves for winning last night, or we would not have had basketball in over a week.
Yeah.
And without basketball, there's really nothing going on right now. Besides hockey.
Baseball.
And on to baseball, Ronald Acuna Jr. tore his left ACL this time. He is out for the rest of the season. Hey, the last time it happened, they won the World Series.
But they also were missing, everybody. Yeah. And everybody's struggling.
Hey, besides Marcell Ozuna.
Yeah, that's not the only cause. It's not.
Some good news. So that was the bad news. The good news. Angel Hernandez officially retired. The MLB had to pay him to retire. And it's amazing that he will be known as being one of the worst, if not the worst umpire ever.
Yeah.
That is what his legacy is. So thank God he's gone. Now we just need to get some more out. There's a lot of bad ones. Coming out yesterday, the MLB is adding the Negro League stats, which makes Josh Gibson the new MLB leader in batting average. He batted .372. That now puts him over Ty Cobb. He is also the leader in on-base percentage, and I believe OPS, which takes over for Babe Ruth. So do you agree with them adding the Negro League stats?
Like cancel culture right here, man. No matter what I say. If I say no, I'm racist.
I mean, I'm both ways. Like, you don't have
Why did it take so long?
Yeah. You don't have the MLB without looking at the Negro League.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people out there saying, then if you're going to add this, why don't we add the Mexican League, the Japanese League? Let's make Ichiro the leader in hits.
Yeah.
Them are two other leagues. The Negro Leagues was made because MLB didn't allow black ball players.
I mean, Josh Gibson. A lot of people don't know who Josh Gibson is. I mean, he is arguably one of the best.
I did not realize. He was the first Negro League player to actually be inducted into the MLB Hall of Fame. I did not realize that his career was cut short because he had a brain tumor and he refused to get surgery on it because he thought that it would affect him being able to be as good of a hitter as he was. So, I agree with it. It's taken a long time for them to actually do it.
Yeah.
Of course, mainly it's coming off of they didn't want to add it because they didn't play enough games in a season. But that all changed after Rob Manfred decided that since, 2020, COVID happened, there's a 60-game season, why not add the Negro Leagues as well?
I mean, they get the recognition they deserve now.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of great players that came out of the Negro Leagues. Like Satchel Paige, he's arguably one of the greatest pitchers of all time, even with not adding those stats in. But now they're adding his stats in. I'm sure he's up there as one of the greatest ever.
I just wish that they would not just add, like, the Negro League stats, but other stats. Like, the Negro Leagues, they didn't just play, like, Josh Gibson, he's known, like, on his Hall of Fame thing, is a guy who hit almost 800 career home runs, which would be the leader over Barry Bonds. Why don't we add them stats as well to when they played just random teams?
Yeah.
They played some MLB teams. I don't believe them are included in the stats as well because it was not a part of a regular Negro League season.
Yeah. I mean, Josh Gibson has the argument of being the best player in baseball history. So.
The Nationals DFA'd Victor Robles. They activated Lane Thomas off the IL. Victor Robles, his time as a National is over. Thank God. He was once one of the top prospects in baseball, top prospect for the Nationals. He had a good 2019 season.
That was it.
And even his 2019 season was not very good.
Good defensively.
But other than that, he had 17 home runs in 2019. I don't think he has 17 combined home runs in the season since. He's very injury prone. I would like to see him get picked up by somebody. I don't know who it would be. Honestly, if you're looking for outfield help, St. Louis Cardinals come to mind. Maybe they could turn him around.
Yeah.
I don't know if there is turning around Victor Robles though. He's not a very good hitter. And he, for sure, has zero power.
Yeah. A great defender. And fast.
He is. DJ LeMahieu returns from the IL for the Yankees. The Yankees are red hot, which I'll talk about later. Jason Dominguez also had his first rehab game last night. He homered in it. So, you get DJ LeMahieu back. You may see Jason Dominguez come back up in the next few weeks. This Yankees team is very scary. Also, Garrett Cole. Yeah. Last week, we talked about that he... said that he's going to start pitching again in June, which is a week away. Very scary times for the rest of the AL, especially the AL East. Which, nobody's good in the AL East besides the Yankees and the Warriors.
Yeah.
So. Nathan Eovaldi and Wyatt Langford were activated from the IL for the Rangers. Evan Carter was placed on the IL. They are also sitting, which just came out from ESPN, they are sitting Marcus Semien for the first time in more than 2 years. So his streak of 349 straight games started is over.
Why are they sitting him?
They're resting him.
Boo.
They shouldn't be resting anybody with how bad they've been. They've lost like 13 of their last 17 games, something like that. They've been terrible. but yet they're still second in the division. Talking about the divisions, the Yankees lead the Orioles by a game and a half. The Orioles last week were swept for the first time in the Adley Rutschman era. Of course, they were swept by the St. Louis Cardinals, who have been on fire. The Guardians have won 9 of their last 10. They lead the Royals by 3.5 games. This AL Central is going to come down to the wire, and there's the only team that's bad in that division is the White Sox. They're the second worst team in baseball. They have moved ahead of the Miami Marlins. Just two bad situations.
Yeah.
The Mariners lead the Rangers by 3.5 games. The Phillies are an MLB best 38-18, despite them having a 3-game losing streak. I believe they did win today. I know Bryce Harper got thrown at today by Kyle Harrison. The bench is cleared, and everybody was hating on Bryce, but I don't know how you're hating on Bryce for when a guy just throws at your head, and it seems like he gets thrown at a lot. They lead the Braves by 5 games. Of course, the Braves have basically their whole team's hurt. Brewers lead the Cubs by 3.5 games. The Cardinals are only 4.5 games back. They have won 8 of their last 10. And the Dodgers lead the Giants by 5.5 games. That's going to increase today because I believe they're winning right now. Will Smith has hit 2 home runs today. Anything else for baseball? The bright spot for the Reds, besides getting murdered last night by the Cardinals and Andrew Abbott just being terrible for really the second or third time this season. Ellie has 31 stolen bases.
Yeah.
Second is 19. So he is the lone bright spot.
Yeah.
Although Hunter Green was a bright spot the other day. Until he gets hurt. Now into hockey, the Panthers and Rangers are tied 2-2 after the Panthers won in overtime last night, and the Stars lead the Oilers 2-1. Game 4 is tonight. So the NHL playoffs, I've not watched any of the NHL playoffs because they've been right alongside with the NBA coverage, which I could say I wish they. I want to know why the NBA has all their games like back to back. Like they have East West.
Yeah.
Even when they've switched cities, they kept it just every other day. I was very surprised they're doing that.
Yeah.
Clearly, the finals will not be like that.
No,
The finals are not going to be like that because I was watching First Take today. They were talking about the Negro League stats being added in. The Cardinals and Giants, something I did not mention, are playing a game at a Negro League stadium on June 20th, where they will honor the history of the Negro Leagues. And that same day, because Stephen A. was saying that he wanted to go to it, but he has NBA coverage because Game 6 of the NBA Finals will be June 20th, if it goes that far. It means they will be starting on June 6th. Game 6 will be June 20th.
Why so long?
I don't know.
They don't need 3 days in between games.
On to other sports, Davis Riley beat Scotty Scheffler by 5 strokes to win the Charles Schwab Challenge. Scheffler looked like he was out of it on Friday. He came back on Saturday, and then Sunday he shot one over. So, also good news for Scotty Scheffler. Louisville police has dropped all charges against him, so he is officially free. And the police officer that arrested him is going to be in deep crap. The Canadian Open is this weekend. Christopher Bell won a rain-shortened Coke 600. I'm going to say it's rain-shortened. It wasn't really rain-shortened because from what I saw, the track was basically dry whenever they decided to cancel the rest of the game, or the rest of the race.
I don't know why.
People are speculating that it was Fox because they had run into Fox's next thing, which I don't know why the hell Fox is worried about something at like midnight.
Yeah.
Who cares? It's going to be some program that nobody watches anyway. And this wouldn't. And then they also said that humidity was keeping them from drying the track. The track looked pretty damn dry. I also heard that they sent out the Air Titans to dry it while it was raining. They did not send out one jet dryer, which is very weird.
Yeah.
So this is the last time the Coke 600 will be on Fox, though, because next year TNT and Amazon Prime will take. I wish they just get fully away from Fox, because Fox NASCAR coverage is horrific, including the booth, where Mike Joy is the only good person, because Clint Boyer is very, very annoying, and honestly, I'm not a big fan of Kevin Harvick being in the booth. He was fine at the beginning, but Gateway is this weekend.
Yeah.
Who wins?
Kyle Lawson.
Of course, Kyle Larson did not get to race the double due to Indy being delayed, and then as soon as he flew into Charlotte, with Matt halfway through the race, it got cold.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with a former winner there. I'm going to go with Joey Logano. Gets the first Ford win besides RFK's.
Yeah.
So, and besides the All-Star race, because the All-Star race doesn't count as points race. Other NASCAR news, Stewart-Haas Racing is to shut down after the season. Front Row Motorsports is buying one of their Chargers. 2311 is expected to buy another one, and Trackhouse is set to expire a third. Their fourth Charger is unknown where it will be heading. They will also be shutting down the Xfinity side. So, Stewart was basically the one running it. Gene Haas hasn't done jack crap over the last however many years. If you listen to Kevin Harvick's podcast, Happy Hour on Fox, he's been taking some shots at Stewart-Haas, which he knows because he raced for them for the end of his career.
Yeah.
Won a championship with them, and they weren't shots at Tony Stewart.
No,
because they're actually good friends. They're shots at Gene Haas. I just want to know, how long will it take for Haas to sell the F1 team now? I would have sold it a long time ago because they're the worst team in the field. And one of their drivers doesn't know how to drive.
Who's that?
Kevin Magnussen.
Oh, yeah.
Joseph Newgarden won the Indy 500 after over a 2-hour rain delay. He is the first back-to-back winner since Helio Castroneves won it in 2001 and 2002. This was the best race all weekend. It was an unbelievable race. I'm still pissed at NBC for switching to the weather.
Oh, yeah.
I had to use a streaming service that I'm not going to name because I don't want them to get banned. Because it's not actually a real streaming service. Yeah. But hey, LeBron uses it, so it's fine. It was the best race of the weekend. Feel terrible for Pato O'Ward.
Yeah.
Feel bad for Kyle Larson, although it was his own fault. He finished 18th after a late speeding penalty. He did lead laps, though. Of course, he was running top 10, almost top 5, whenever he was caught for speeding, which ultimately ended his race. It's a great race. A lot of wrecks, a lot of engine failures, we'll say, with Honda in the beginning of the race. And then just unbelievable racing.
Yeah.
Really mad that Larson wasn't able to do both.
Yeah.
Mother Nature just sucks. The Detroit Grand Prix is this weekend.
For IndyCar?
What other series goes to Detroit and runs on the streets of Detroit?
Pato O'Ward. He gets it back.
I'm saying Joseph Newgarden goes back to back. I believe he did that last year as well.
Probably did.
Charles Leclerc won at Monaco. Besides the first lap of the race, I got up and watched this race. I got up at like 7 o'clock and watched like an hour of the pre-race. Started at 8. I fell asleep like halfway through because it was so damn boring. The second corner of the race, Sergio Perez got wrecked.
Yeah. Because
him and Kevin Magnussen, who I named earlier, who doesn't know how to drive, and for some reason did not get penalized for it, although he definitely shouldn't have stayed where he was. Of course, if he would have been penalized, after you get, I believe, 10 penalty points, he was at 9, you're suspended a race. Not even halfway through the season, and the dude's already close to being suspended. Other than that, that was the only action.
I didn't watch it.
And the top 10, how the top 10 started was how they had ended. I'm pretty sure there was like 3 passes the whole race. It was a very bad race. They need to do something with Monaco because it's just terrible.
It's too tight.
No,
Can't
there's
pass.
no passing. There's one DRS zone and it doesn't even do anything. It's terrible. F1's off this week. They will be back next week. By the way, Max finished 6th.
Yeah.
They're closing. Ferrari and
still has a huge
McLaren.
point lead.
Yeah, but not as big as you would have thought.
Yeah.
And it may not be like down to the wire for the regular driver points, but the Constructor Championship, since Sergio Perez doesn't know how to drive a damn car, and Red Bull is too stubborn to get rid of him, he's going to cost them a championship, because you know Max is going to finish top 5 every race. Sergio didn't even make it out of the first round of qualifying. which is why he started in the back. He started 18th in a Red Bull car.
Yeah.
You could have put anybody in the field in that Red Bull car, and they probably would have qualified better than 18th, except for Kevin Magnussen, because he probably would have wrecked it, like he did in the race. I'm just taking shots. Rafael Nadal lost in straight sets to Alexander Zverev. I don't know if that's how you say his name.
Yeah.
But this could be Nadal's possible final French Open. Of course, he's no longer ranked.
Yeah.
He was facing Zverev, who's ranked 3rd in the world. Casper Ruud won the first round. Saw that. My boy Casper. Carlos Alcaraz won again. He continues. He is now 30-0 in championship matches after winning the first 2 sets. So,
he's just special.
Casper's better. He has a cooler name.
Yeah.
Casper Ruud. That's all I have. Is that all you have?
Yeah.
Go ahead and say it.
Baseball.
There you go. Thank you guys for listening. Enjoy the NBA and NHL playoffs. Enjoy baseball.
Baseball.
Enjoy some racing this weekend. And the Canadian Open. The Canadian Open is always really good. Thank you guys for listening. Come back here next week.